All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Marcus Nebro. I work over at Tutor.com. I'm a client services specialist. And today we are going to be talking about the Tutor.com program that is at your disposal, as well as some of the different ways that you can use Tutor.com to really get in front of students and make sure that they're using the program, since obviously that is always the number one struggle, which is getting kids to do anything kind of educationally related. But the first thing that I did want to show off is how to actually get to your program. So in order to do that, all you have to do is go to the Discus site. So that's going to be scdiscus.org. And within here, there are a couple of different ways that you can do that. You can search through online resources, A to Z. That's how I tend to do it, just because I know easily where tutor.com is. But you just scroll down, and once you get to T, tutor.com is right here. All you have to do is click tutor.com. And if you're within the state of South Carolina, you'll automatically get in. I am over in New York, so obviously I get this other screen. Otherwise, normally you will get this screen when you come in. So the best way that I've always found to really get students to use it is to have them create an account. It's super simple to create an account. All you have to do is click create an account, and then you just enter in the information: your first name, email address, password, date of birth. Date of birth is important. We are COPA compliant. We do obviously really care about the safety and privacy of your students. So if you're under 13 years of age, you'll have a COPA account, which is a bit more restricted. But if you are working with high schoolers, for example, they can create an account and they won't have to worry about anything. Now, I already have an account, so I'll just log in. Thankfully, it remembers me. And now, as you can see, I have everything at my disposal. And the reason that this is actually like really good to do is because the live one-to-one tutoring, um, one moment. The live one-to-one tutoring is only available between specific hours from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Everything else that I'm showing you is available 24/7. So even if, let's say, I'm a high school student, I have an after-school job, I'm not getting home till 8, 9 o'clock, then, I'll still have options to use after work and all of that. So it's going to be really helpful to create an account. Now, obviously we do have the connecting with a tutor, and there are some ways that you can bring this into the classroom. One is by doing a short presentation. It takes like 5 minutes to really walk through everything, to walk through how to get into the program, how to create an account, and how to have your first session. It's super simple, and something that you can honestly do is reward students for having their first session. So for example, if I'm in a calculus class, my teacher could say, "Hey, you'll get two extra points on your test if you show me that you had a session with a tutor at tutor.com." Because again, incentivization is always going to be everything. So you just choose topic math, subject calculus, grade level, whatever grade you're in, and then how you want to actually communicate with your tutor. Enter in your question. And now, if you are the math teacher, this could be anything. Maybe you have a study guide that you sent out this past week for an upcoming test, or you're just going over a specific topic in calculus that you want kids to review. You can have them do a specific or a generic question. So again, specific could be question 4 on the study guide. A generic question is, I need help with X, Y, and Z in math. So my normal go-to is for chemistry, because I never understood covalent bonds. So I could say, help me understand covalent bonds, and our tutors are going to be able to help. Once you fill all of this information out, you just click connect now, and you'll be brought into our classroom, which we've made it as user friendly as we honestly could. Um, yeah, we've made it as easy as it can be to understand. All you have to do is, click the pen and then you start drawing. We are getting a couple of people saying that audio's not working. One moment. All right. Now back here, so there are a couple of things within the classroom that you can do. One, you can actually make the whiteboard turn into a graph. So again, if you're doing something like in trigonometry or calculus or something like that, you can actually use some basic graphing here. So for example, if I was doing any sort of, sine wave or something like that, I can choose whatever type of graph I want. For this example, I'm going to want four quadrants. I can bring this in, expand it if I want to a little bit more, make the lines line up, and then all of a sudden I'm able to do all the different kind of graphing that I need to do. For anything that's a bit more complicated, we do also have a graphing calculator. So again, if you're working on a graphing problem with a tutor, you can actually use this, and it's fully functional. It's basically an online version of a TI-84 or TI-89, which we started using once I left high school. But this is also available for you. Now, if you were, for example, an English teacher and you wanted students to work on some sort of assignment, whether it's a short kind of writing assignment or whatnot, we do have a text editor in here as well. It's essentially Google Docs. You just are able to copy and paste whatever it is that you're working on in here, and you can work on it live with the tutor. So it really does take out any kind of confusion or complication of submitting a draft to a teacher and then not getting it back for a week. So this is a really good opportunity for people to work on their papers. And if there's something that they're working on that's a bit more format intensive, so usually the go-tos that I would have are like bibliographies, anything that needs to be structured in a very specific way. You can actually share that file. The tutor is going to be able to get that and download it and then share their screen. So there's a lot within here that you can do, and you can again switch between all the different whiteboards that you're using, and all that work does get saved. Again, it's a very versatile classroom that you can use for both math, English, science, really just about anything that you are struggling with. You can get help here. So that is the main thing when it comes to connecting with a tutor now. Again, doing an in-class demo, having students use the classroom as extra help, extra credit, because again, once you end the session, there is a little survey that pops up, but after that survey, you can just send the transcript via email to anybody. So when it comes to using a or having a session as an extra credit option, basically within this post-session survey where you're able to email the transcript, you could just email it to your teacher and say like, hey, this is X, Y, and Z. This was my session. Um, and that's like kind of another way that teachers can check to make sure that students are doing the work to get extra credit. Similarly, we can actually use the submitting a paper for review as another form of extra credit, or even for teachers who are, struggling to keep up with the workload, because obviously everybody knows this past year has been very difficult. Um, but so for English teachers or writing teachers, if you're sending home an assignment with students, you can actually cut out the draft portion and just have them submit their document to tutor.com. It's available 24/7. It's completely free for the students to use. And they get help on their own time, and it's one less thing for you to have to grade. So again, they just fill out the information, they put what the topic of the paper is, where they are in the process. So if I'm just starting out, maybe I want the tutor to focus on my grammar and sentence variety. That's something that I can customize and have them focus on. And then you just type in the instructions to the paper so that our tutors actually have an idea of what you're being graded on. And then you just submit. And in about 12 hours, though in my experience, anytime I've submitted anything, it's usually about 4 to 5, you'll get something that looks like this. And essentially, we rubric everything out for students to make it as clear as possible to understand where they are in the writing process. So there are a couple of different things that we actually rubric on. One is thesis statement, but as you scroll down, you'll see things like essay structure, the actual research and citation, even grammar mechanics. And with this, again, you can easily see where you are. within the rubric, but there's also some more general feedback that tutors are able to provide and resources that they think would be helpful for the student based on where they're struggling. So if it comes down to, let's say, research and citation, and the tutor sees that you're not citing everything correctly, they can actually link out to a different site that they think was very helpful, that talks about how to correctly link or correctly cite things throughout your paper. So there's a lot of information that students can actually get from this essay drop off feature, but probably the coolest and I know most helpful for me personally is the reviewed document. So once you kind of go through this, you have a better idea of where you are, you can download a reviewed document, which is going to look something similar to this. Now, our tutors are never actually making changes in the paper itself. That is something that's very important to keep in mind. We are not giving students the answers. We're just providing them resources to better their education, to better their knowledge, and all of that. So our tutors will be able to highlight specific passages within their paper and give them more direct feedback. And again, this is helpful because now, while previously in the subject feedback form here, you can see, all right, my essay structure, maybe it's struggling. Here's what the tutor says I can do. But then you can actually go in and see specific examples of where the tutor thinks you might have been going wrong and what you can do to kind of better your writing. So this is going to be incredibly helpful. And again, it's as you can see with this one, there's a lot of feedback left by the tutor. Next up, we do have drop off math questions and taking practice quizzes. Again, you can kind of use these as extra credit for anybody. If you're dropping off a math question, maybe it's you drop off one math question for this homework assignment and the rest of it you base off of that one question. For the practice quizzes, again, we have like hundreds of quizzes here. So let's say you're an Algebra 1 teacher and you are, preparing students for a test that's coming up, you could have them go in and take these practice quizzes. Maybe you're covering inequalities. You can take this quiz. I'm not going to actually take it, but finish it. And one of the cool things is not only can students review their answers, see kind of what they got correct and incorrect. Obviously, nothing's showing up because I didn't actually take it, but students can also discuss this with a tutor. So by requiring students to do this, you're also again putting them in a position where they're able to work with a tutor on things that they didn't understand. All you have to do is click discuss with a tutor and that brings you back here and fills everything out. And again, if you are requiring quizzes for some sort of extra credit opportunity, students can then grab their kind of specific URL for that quiz. They can take that and submit it to you, send it via email, whatever it is. So this is just really another option for students to get help, as well as uh, you kind of offering an extra credit incentive. Next up are the other tools. And while this is less about an incentive, it's more about making sure that students know that no matter what their comfort level is, there are resources. So I'm not sure what it might have been like for some of you, but I know when I was in high school and I was taking trigonometry, it was my worst class. I was always struggling and looking online for help. I would search YouTube, find tutorial videos, all of that kind of stuff. We've essentially made it easier for students to do that. All they have to do is come in here, and we have, if they're taking an AP class, maybe they're taking biology, calculus, US history, world history, we have hundreds of videos within just this video library, kind of walking through or doing small mini lessons. So again, one thing that I always say is while these are titled AP videos, most of the videos here are going to be useful for anybody taking that kind of class. So let's say I'm in biology and I'm struggling and I don't really understand natural selection. Instead of having to Google it, try to find a YouTube video from someone who's a reputable source, they can just come in here, look at our video library, scroll down and see multiple videos on natural selection or how natural selection works. And again, scroll down further and there's DNA replication, protein synthesis, all of this stuff that I really wish I had when I was a kid. And then again, we have this for calculus, US history, and world history. So it's going to be really helpful for students to use that. Next up is kind of our what we call early edge videos. These are primarily made for students who are in late elementary school, early middle school. But honestly, this can help a lot of people. Again, these are short videos. Maybe you can put on in the middle of your class, maybe while people are doing like studying or working on study guides, stuff like that. This is something that you can provide them as extra resources. But these videos are specifically more rudimentary, made for those foundational skills. So again, if you're in elementary school, middle school, this is going to be helpful in giving you a kickstart when it comes to content that you're going to be learning later on in your education. Or if you're in high school and you're taking a remedial math class because maybe it was never your strong suit, these videos could also probably help those kinds of students. And then the next thing that I'm going to show you is the SAT and ACT essentials. Now, I'm not exactly sure. Every school is different, but growing up for me, the guidance counselor at my school was the one who helped kind of prepare and sign students up for the SAT and ACT, as well as help students who are getting ready for college. This is going to be a great resource that you are going to really want to share with your guidance counselors if that's kind of the situation at your school, because these resources for the SAT and ACT provide full length practice tests, detailed reports that you can get back once you finish so you can track your score, see if you're, approaching your goal score or if you're falling behind, what subjects it is that you need to focus on. So if I'm struggling on the math portion, it will tell me algebra or geometry or, whatever stuff like that. As well as give detailed explanations for all the answers. And once, let's say I've taken 3 or 4 practice tests and I can see my score is going up, but I still have a little bit more to go until I hit my goal score. We have a bunch of video lessons and practice drills for students. And this is, the Princeton Review material. It's a tried and tested sort of, plan and lesson plan for students. And this can be a really great equalizer because not everybody has the ability to get private tutoring or something like that. So this can really help students who maybe don't have that at their disposal, but they still want to practice and they still want to score really well. And additionally, within the SAT and ACT essentials, we actually have some admissions advice. So, stuff on how to find the correct college for you, how to write an admissions paper, stuff about FAFSA, all of that kind of stuff is going to be available within here. And now the last thing that I did want to mention, and this is specifically for younger students or teachers of younger students, so like elementary school. But if you scroll down on the Connect with a Tutor Now page and go to Study Resources, we've actually created a bunch of resources for you, for parents, for students to use. In order to find them, all you have to do is again go to Study Resources, choose your topic. For English and math, we have created resources. For the other subjects, we've found resources that we've vetted online and kind of put them all together for you. But let's say I am a fourth grade teacher and I'm looking for some handouts. I can choose English, elementary, and then fourth grade tutor worksheets. And essentially, these are created by our tutors, by our team over at the Princeton Review, by our subject matter experts. And they're short, little, tiny worksheets that you can download, print out, share with your class, stuff like that. So there's also a lot of resources for teachers as well within tutor.com. But those are the main different ways that you can kind of bring tutor.com into the classroom, as well as kind of a very quick overview as to what resources are available within tutor.com. But I did want to kind of leave it open or leave the floor open for any questions that anybody might have had, whether they wanted to go over a specific feature or maybe they have some ideas about kind of using it in the classroom. I'd be happy to chat about that. So I'll leave the floor open for just a couple of minutes. All right, I'm not seeing any questions come in just yet. If there are any questions that people have after the session, there will be a follow-up email that's sent out sometime tomorrow. So you can always just reply to that and I'd be happy to help. Otherwise, thanks so much, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.